Hello, ladies. How is everybody? Oops, trying to write a little message on here. Hello, everybody. Yeah, did y'all go in to see Diana's quilt? I'm so excited for it. It is a beauty. Her quilting is so amazing. I was looking at all the close-ups, just so I could see all the different designs she did. Hello, everybody. It is so good to see you. So, Diane 57 and Polly and Marcia. Let's see all who's here. Kathleen Ziegler, Cheryl Hogan. It is so good to see all of you. And I just wanted to tell you, I'm a little bit sad. My son called me today and I was like, I was really busy because I've been working all day on my undersea quilt. And I said to him, for the past several weeks, I said, I'm going to have it done today. I promise I'm going to have it done. I'll show you today. Well, I said, no matter what, I keep coming back each week going, I'm trying to get this. No, I'm trying to get this camera right. But anyway, I told him, I keep coming in and saying, I'm going to have it done. I'm going to have it done. And I don't have it done. So today, he said, well, let me let you go. I know what it's like to work on a deadline. And, when you get in that zone. So I got all of the last minute. Hello, Annette. I got all of the last minute things sewn down with invisible thread. And my Ella was such a good girl today. I think she got tired of me saying she didn't like to do free motion stitching. And she was so good today. So I was very happy with her. Hold on just a second. I'm having a hot flash. So let me turn on my fan. And if I don't jump on a hot flash right away, my face will end up like glowing, But anyway, it's so good to see you guys. But anyway, I got everything stitched down. The invisible thread worked perfectly. My machine worked perfectly. I got so much done. I even put on some gray tulle to kind of tone down some of the turtles and fish that were just too bright, trying to give a little more depth. I got some more yarns put on, and then I went upstairs and put it on the frame, and I've been up there going, I can do this. I can do this. I was 1/2 an hour from having it off the frame, and then I would be able to show you. And I really like the quilting with it because it's really making all the fish and the turtles pop. And I'll be so, so happy. I didn't do anything fancy. I didn't do fancy quilting like our Jody did with hers. I thought, I'm just going to do wavy lines going across, and then around the bottom where I have so many things, I outline stitched different animals and some of the coral reef and some of that. So it's almost done. I've decided I'm not going to bind it with anything. I'm going to kind of go with the feeling of an aquarium. And where is it? Oh, here it is. I'm thinking of using this fabric and just bind it. So, thank you, Cheryl. You're right. I've been getting jittery trying to rush because I have been enjoying it. But anyway, so I'm just going to do a nice binding with this or either plain black. And that way it'll look like a fish tank. The black, simple black edge. There's Jody. I was telling them I didn't do any fancy quilting on it. I just did wavy lines across about 1.5 inches apart. But I did a lot of outline quilting around it, but I was so close. I was so close. I was sitting there, 7 o'clock came. I had put my curlers in my hair. I thought, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And I said, if you do this, you will be late to get on the camera and you won't have time to actually get ready. So instead, I was the mature adult. It's no fun to be a mature adult. I wanted to be a kid and get it done. But I said, no, go get ready, put some makeup on so you don't scare the children, and get on there, get the room straightened, because boy, I had undersea stuff everywhere. And as you see, I'm pretty neat and tidy now. Here's the side. Isn't that nice? I hid it way down the hall. But anyway, I said, no, Deb, come on. Let's be mature and let's get there on time and don't keep those nice ladies waiting. So hi. Anyway, it is hard to stay focused. You know what, Cheryl? Hi, Cheryl Lemon and Cheryl Hogan. This is great. I do want to tell you that one thing that I've read about a lot is the fact that during this crisis, we have a hard time concentrating. And I think that is so true. And I don't know why. I'm like, I love being home, but I think it's that constant worry and constantly hearing the total. I mean, it's very upsetting. It's awfully upsetting. And so I think sometimes that robs us of our concentration and our creativity. So I have a sink. One side of my sink is full of pots and pans to wash. I couldn't do it this morning. And you know what? I'm not pushing myself. I'm being nice to myself. I had that kitchen perfectly clean, but yesterday I cooked a lot and I thought, nope, I'm just not going to deal with it. And I made some shrimp in a cream cheese, in a Parmesan cream sauce, and it's going to be a bear to get out of the pan. And I just said, I'm not doing it. And then, I got to tell you, I made some no-bake chocolate cookies. And they came out very well. And Mark said, oh, darn, I don't like oatmeal and I don't like raisins that are in them. You mean I'll have to eat them all by myself? So most of you, I think, are on the site. So you've probably already read the wonderful story we had. We had a young man over here and we were paying him to get some stuff done around the outside of the house. And he's a hard worker. He's an artistic young man. I told him that I would be happy to turn his drawing of his favorite dog into an art quilt of a dog. So I said, send me your file, the file you have it on, and I'll work with it, and then send me a couple photos of the dog and let's see what I can come up with. So I think I'll be also working on that. But the good story was that I paid him some money and I put it in a baggie with some lifesavers in the baggie, and he sat it on top of my daughter's car and they left. It was nighttime and he forgot. And when he got a ways away, he said, uh-oh, I don't know where the money is. So they tried looking for it and all of that. And, oh, hi, Veronica. Okay, I'm sorry we're going in and out, sweetie. I am sorry. But please come back. We would love you to. We're just starting a new art quilt. So anyway, to make a long story short, a woman came up to the door, rang our doorbell the next day. I had put a sign out on the mailbox saying, if you found a baggie with candy and money, could you please return it? And she said, you won't believe this. She was walking her two babies in the stroller, and she said, there's a sign down by the stop sign that said, anybody lost a bag of candy? So we got it back. And that young man was tickled. He couldn't believe that somebody would go to that much trouble to get his money back to him. So anyway, that was such a great story. Then I had a sad story today. And we had this young man has been working on power washing our back deck and staining it. And so we've had this birdhouse, this chickadee had been had one precious egg that she's been taking the best care of. And we've had to move that birdhouse and everything so that we could power wash the deck and then start painting it. And she stayed. She was loyal. She stayed with that birdie. One little egg. Well, this morning I go to let the dogs out, about 11 o'clock this morning. And I noticed a whole bunch of dog fur and moss laying on the deck under the birdhouse. And some kind of bird had gone in there and ripped out all of her nesting material and ate her baby bird. And I found the egg where it had hatched. And Mark said he has a feeling it probably hatched last night or this morning, and something heard it peeping and got it. So nature can sometimes knock your legs right out from under you. It broke my heart for that sweet mama. But it was cute to see that she had used moss and my dog's hair. When I trim them, I throw the hair out in the garden, and she used it for her nest. I'm really, really hoping she'll make a new nest. And hopefully, it's April 30th. There's time for her to have a new baby. So I don't know if she's got the heart to try it after that. But we heard some crows out in the yard really loud, and I said, bet you it was a crow. And unfortunately, we're going to have to recover the doorway to the house because squirrels had chewed and enlarged the door. So I told Mark, if we take something new and have the correct size door, it'll prevent crows from coming and getting her baby. I was so mad. So Sunday, I forgot to bring this down to show you. It's all finished. And I'm going to put it on the wall over here. I can't wait. So, and I don't know if you remember, but I thought this was appropriate for our landscape and art quilt days. It was a white piece of muslin that I painted with Dynaflow paints and dye paints and with Lumiere metallic. And let me see if I can get any of the metallic to show up. The red's metallic, the gold is metallic, and there's some metallic on the moon. But anyway, I love this thing. And I love the way Mark helped me pick out the fabric to frame it. And you see where I quilted it with the 3 tunnels so that it kind of gave it a carved picture frame look. So that will be going on my wall back here. So that is done. I highly recommend you can get these starter kits. The metallic Lumiere was $13 and something. The regular Dynaflow was, I think, $11. And I found them on Amazon. Well, the colors sometimes did bleed. And what I did is I learned to stop my paint a little bit back from the edge. First, I quilted it. Who asked that great question, too? Because that was a great question, Polly. I quilted it first. And then I learned to kind of stay back from the edge with the Dynaflow paint. And I had to learn, don't thin it so much. At first, I was thinning it so much. Oh, another thing. If the area you're trying to paint, if the area just outside where you're trying to paint is dry, the fabric is dry, it wants to run that capillary action or whatever. So, like, let's say this area was dry and you're trying to paint this. This area is dry. It'll suck that dye paint towards the dry area. So it might be better to wet your piece down first, and then you'll have it. So you'll have it quilt stitched with a nice thick black thread. That creates a type of barrier. But I'll show you a secret. Do you see this area kind of looks a little, right there, it looks a little bit funny? Well, that was an area where it bled pretty bad, and I wanted crisp edges. So I took and mixed some of that Dynaflow background color with a little bit of white acrylic paint, which would then be opaque, and painted it to match. And so I did that in a couple of my areas. This one maybe is not the best example. It's a little dark, but I figured that's okay. My background didn't have to be solid. So where I had to, I made do with some acrylic and put the color to tint it. Diana Wright is here. Can we all say congratulations to Miss Diana Wright? What a thrill it was to see her quilt today or yesterday on the virtual quilt show. So I was so tickled. So anyway, I really enjoyed this. I also learned in some places I did use acrylics, and I did use a permanent fine marker to do some highlighting. And in some areas where I put some white acrylic to give the metallic paint more body, I painted over the quilting lines. And the quilting line was to give it that sharp edge. So in that case, I had to go back over it with a permanent fine tip marker and make that black line to really make it pop. So remember, these things are multimedia, and it's okay. You know, we used to think there were so many rules in quilting or art quilting, and remember when to do quilting you couldn't cross the line, all that stuff. Now people are just having fun, and I love that. And June is here. Hello. It is so good to see all of you. So today we're going to start a new project. And as soon Sunday, I will have that undersea quilt off the quilt frame, and I'll bring it down and show it to you. I'm really liking it. I'm being careful and trying to give it a little more depth. And I did a little bit of thread painting before I quilted it to the whale's eye, and hopefully you'll like it. So anyway, but I'm really tickled, and I want to thank you again because you keep me on my toes. I'm creating more than I have in years, and I wanted to thank you because, oh my gosh, it's so nice. Upstairs, I am hand sewing the back side of the binding on the prose quilt, and that binding is what I took and cut the stripe on a 45-degree angle so it would mimic the mandala in the center, and it's really sharp. It's showing up. That little binding is showing up. So I've got one side done by hand, and every evening I'll pull it in my lap and I'll work on another side. So I'll have that done Sunday too. And then wait till you see my basket quilt. Do you remember? In fact, I have forgotten to put that on the site. Tonight when I get off here, I'm going to do it before I forget that I had that picture, that print of the basket with fruit and flowers that I had on here Sunday and showed you how to crayon color. It really came out good. I was so surprised. So it is all completed. I have pressed it, and in fact, I tossed it way over there. I took a cotton kitchen towel, old like big kitchen towel, and I put it over and under that basket design with the crayon, and I pressed it. It was so cute. Oh, I'm going to get it anyway. I want to show you this. Hopefully you can see it. Hold on just a second, guys. Okay. So I took this thing that we had used when we dyed fabric last year or a couple years ago. I could see when I first finished. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. No, which side? This side. I'm not sure if it's going to be pronounced enough for you, but I could see the basket. Okay. Up here is the handle, and this is the basket, and these were all the fruits in it because I put the crayon fabric in between this and then pressed it really good. And so some of the wax came out of the crayon onto here. I'll have to wash this in hot water. But when I first took it off, I could see the reflection of the basket because of the crayon wax on there. But I was really surprised. Wait till you see it. The color stayed really strong. I gotta tell you, if you're going to want to see the crayon drawing, if you're going to want to do one, don't forget, take and put down a base of your white crayon first. Any area that you're going to color, first color and fill in with white crayon. Because I had tried this method back in the 90s and it was so pale. It was okay, but it just didn't have that oomph. And in fact, I'll show you that quilt on Sunday. And but I've shown it to you before, but I'd like to show you the difference in these two. And by putting the white crayon down first, it fills in all the weave of the fabric and gives a good base, as if you were a painter and you wanted to put a layer of gesso on a canvas to give you a smooth, good surface. The color was just really good, and it stayed good. And I've put a border on it, and then I'm just going to do an envelope kind of fold with the back, and I've decided to give it to my friend Mildred. So don't tell her, but I'm going to give that to her. I'm going to put it on the quilt frame and just do some little edge quilting and then give that to her. So, but it came out really, really good. So I'll show you that Sunday too. All right. Oh, is Bonnie having a hard time? I'm sorry, sweetie. It is tough moving. It's right up there with the death in the family or divorce. It is. So anyway, all right. So I cut out. If you continue to like doing landscape quilting and art quilting, get yourself a bolt of a reasonable quality muslin. And it can be bleached or it can be unbleached. Doesn't really matter. But keep that handy because, I have this few yards of it right here. I keep it right in this drawer because I really do like to, for my landscapes and my art quilts, I like having a muslin foundation. I work on the foundation, and it's really helpful because it's not too heavyweight. It's not expensive a fabric, and I can draw on it and cover it up with the fabric, and it can be quilted inside with a good backing later, and it just gives it stability, which is nice because landscaping quilts are a little thicker and heavier. And art quilts tend to be a little thicker and heavier than just a pieced quilt. So I'm still liking my iron. It's working really good. I'm over here ironing while I'm talking to you. But I haven't fully decided what I'm doing for my space quilt. And while I was sitting here being so proud of myself for being on time, I realized I forgot to get my God's Eye quilt top that I did a couple years ago. So, in fact, you know what? I need to make myself a note because I've got too many things to remember and too little firing power in the brain to remember it. So, okay, let me see. So I need to have my God's Eye. God's Eye is a nebula. God's Eye nebula. Okay. And then I think I said I would make sure to have my flower basket, crayon quilt. Okay. And then I'll have my undersea all done. Okay. And I found the cutest backing fabric for my undersea. Oh, you started figuring your plan out. That's wonderful. Okay. Now, I gave Mark a Christmas present. And I think it was because I really wanted it. But remember I was telling you to go online and look for Hubble pictures. The quilt we're going to start, our quilt challenge this time, is going to be something from outer space, the planets, the stars, whatever you want. And so when it came time to get things for Christmas, I bought him this. And I really wanted it, but he is the one. I wanted to do this space series because I love him and he loves NASA, anything to do with outer space. So I thought today, some of you have already figured out what you want to do. And Mark falls asleep every night watching The Way the Universe Works. It's narrated by Mike Rowe, and he loves all that stuff. And so it relaxes him. Hopefully he won't mind. But last night I was hearing them say a dying star can turn into a nebula, and a nebula can turn into a new star. And I was like, oh boy, that's that's complex. But look, I mean, when I look at these, I'm going to take off the dust jacket because Mark's very meticulous about his stuff, and I don't want to crinkle his dust jacket. And sadly, I'm not the most careful person. So, yeah, and if you don't have any muslin to do your foundation, use any old fabric you don't really like. The only reason I like using muslin is because that way if you draw on it, it won't compete. So, I'm trying to see if I've missed a page in here. I think it's just thick pages. But here is, let me see. This is the Monkey Head Nebula. There is so much out there. And one of the reasons I'm drawn to these is because it gives you a wonderful excuse to play with thread painting. And if you can get yourself some really pretty color threads. Oh my gosh, here is the Tarantula Nebula. But I'm not going to just show you nebulas. Let me show you. They've got, the Milky Way and different things. But let me see. I wanted to show you some planets. Oh my gosh. This is an artist rendering. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And let's see. Hi, Michelle. Let's see, you smarty poos. What is the space nickname for the Earth? Some astronauts made up a space nickname for the Earth. So, okay, well, these are all kinds of different amorphous. Let me get to where we've got, I'm hoping this has some planets too, because, oh my gosh, look at this galaxy. Isn't that beautiful? And just think, you start with a black background and you go from there. And some of the colors are so amazing. Oh, this has a planet, but it's a little far out. I'd like to see a closer. Okay. Look at this. This is the Helix Nebula. But I'm just trying to give you some ideas. But isn't that beautiful? And it makes you think if you could get those colors in a tulle or maybe a chiffon, Can you imagine how pretty? Use like a chiffon over the black. Is Kathy Mitchell's here? You never have to be sorry for being late, sweetie. We're just happy to have you here. Well, I'm not seeing as many. Here's one thing. I might have to tell you just to go and click on Google and click images of planets. And what I do is I want to see what it really looks like. I don't want to just, but you can, you know what? It's your world and you can make it any way you want. But it looks like this is part of Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter. But these shouldn't be as hard as you think. But anyway, you can type in Hubble images on Google. You can type in planetary images on Google. Oh, did anyone figure out what the nickname for the Earth is given to it by astronauts who've been in space? Anybody? Yeah, these are all. Oh, here Mark has this on his computer screensaver, and it's called the Eagle Nebula or Pillars of Creation. It's amazing. So, okay. So the space terminology for the Earth by astronauts, it was dubbed the blue marble. So now you know something you might not have known before. Oh my gosh, look at this close-up of Jupiter. That's why I think that it would be really amazing to do in fabric, because there's so much you can do. Good job, Diane 57. Yep. And so anyway, okay, enough of this. But I like showing you some of these things so you can, like I've got a collection of fabrics. Because just kind of, once you get used to looking at the colors. Hello, Miss Kathy. So, let's come over here now. And, okay, whoop. Let me close this. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and I always start out the same way. I don't need this on here because I haven't figured out exactly what I'm doing yet. But I take good old heavy starch. Good old heavy starch. All right, and let me put some more water. This is the best way I have found to fill your iron with water. I hated spilling it, and you can get these from Walmart. You can get them from restaurant supply stores. How easy is that to fill up your iron? So I have been doing that probably for about 6 years. I discovered that way of filling up an iron. But it's like you can get them for, like some people put ketchup in it, mustard in them. Okay. So I'm just going to get this. I like to starch this. And when you spray the starch on, give it a moment to sink in. If you ever have a problem with flaking from an item you're starching, then it's because you didn't let it sink into the fabric. And if you want to heavily, heavily starch it at some point, then please spray it on, fold it up, and put it in a plastic bag. And let it sit there for half an hour or an hour or till the next day. But I like doing this because now, see how it has some body to it. and it makes it easier to draw on, makes it easier to attach your other fabrics to it. Okay. All righty. So now I am trying to decide what I'm going to do. And since I want to do a series with the planets, I've been collecting fabrics for a while that would be good to use for any outer space things. This I got at Pineapple Fabrics. I think this is really awesome. Like if I were going, oh yeah, and it's just the cheap starch from the grocery store, Cheryl. And you know, I even use it now when I piece. It makes me more accurate with my piecing. But this I thought was cool. That would be good for parts of Jupiter. I have one of these for some of those colors and nebulas. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? I was thinking of Mars. But then I got different backgrounds. So these have some different galaxies and swirls in it. Let me see. This has some of the northern lights in it. Oh, this is a possibility. All right. What I think I might hear is some of the Northern Lights fabric. The reason I got it because, you know, some of those nebulas, they have that translucent color. So I can cut this and put it on the black. I can cut around it. Then I think this is a Stonehenge. I got it from Pineapple Fabrics, a good bit of it, because I might use this as the background. Bye, Bonnie, sweetheart. Take good care of yourself. Please, Bonnie, don't overdo it, hon. Yes, like the big spot. Good job, Kathleen. Like the big spot on Jupiter. And this is good for some of the nebulas. And then here, look at this. Boy, if I were to do the moon, wouldn't that be awesome? It'll be stiffer if you don't steam. Thank you for telling us that. And so just some little, this has black on black dots and some more Stonehenge. So this is what I'm thinking of doing. This is what I'm thinking of. Let me see if I can find one online. And also, I have this ombre that goes from purple to yellow. And that's always good. But let me see if I can find a volcanic image. You just go to Google and you type in image, of volcanic planet. Okay, let me see. I was thinking, let me show you, okay? So I just typed in image of I didn't even spell it right. Luckily, they got it. Okay, so now I'm going to click on these images. Let me click on here. For a while, I've been wanting to do something like this. I have been wanting to. And I love how, you know, it's molten in the center. Look at this one right here. This is cool. This one even has rings around it. But I have been wanting to do something like this. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? That might be a real good one. And you know what? Remember this fabric? Look at the rings. It would be a perfect ring fabric. But that is really exquisite. Okay, now let me go back down. Or how do I get this image to go back down? Oh, wow. That is an awesome image. And I'm going to tell you how I would go about making that too. Come on. Let me see. Can I go backwards? Okay. Here we go. Okay. So I have seen some really awesome ones. And I was kind of thinking of one that was really dark, a dark planet, and just had cracks and fissures, but I'm not something maybe like that. Maybe like this one. But I've seen somewhere I saw an image. Oh, there. Now this is a model. But look at that. And I thought if I could really make it look like it was hot, really get the contrast right, that would be so cool. Now I'm just looking real quick. You know, I think the one I'm going to want to make, because I'm not seeing the image I used to, that I had seen at one point. That's why if you see something you say, one day I'd love to make that, save that picture into a folder and just say future projects or future ideas. Okay, I'm not seeing the one I have seen before. So what I'm going to do, now if you don't want to do a planet and you just want to do a volcano, you go for it. So if you want to do a log cabin, go for that. Okay, I think the one that's caught my attention right now then, the one that's caught my attention is going to be the one with the rings, especially since I have the fabric for that. So let me go all the way back up. It was up here near the top. Whoa, look at this volcano. That's a volcano on Mars. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? That would be cool to do. Okay, where is, ooh. And like this is an image of a volcanic planet. Okay, where is the one with the ring on it? I really love that one. I'm going to work on that. There it is. Now this says sci-fi, so I'm sure there's one out there, but I'm just not sure if this drawing is completely accurate. I might want to check that. Because I don't know, do I really want to do something that is not realistic? Oh my goodness, look at this. Ooh, that is beautiful. Okay, well, I think I'm going to go ahead now. I have no idea who owns the rights to this. I should probably try to find out. But that is gorgeous. So I'm going to save this image and I'm going to put it in a folder. Right here, I'm going to, whoops, not that folder. Hold on, guys. Here, and then here. I'm going to save that. Okay, because I like that, but I think I'm going to do some changing up so that I'm not copying exactly, you know? And I might look and just check on how realistic would it be that there's actually an object like that out in space. All right. Now, since we're right here with photos, I hope I got, some of you sent me some new ideas you're working on. So let's see. Since Miss Annette is here, we'll go and look at her photos again. Love Miss Annette's work. Let me turn this off. Okay. Come on. Don't give me a hard time. Come on. Okay. Oops, I think it came up. There we go. We have Annette's Christmas quilt. Love it. Love this one. Or I'm not sure if that's the back of one or if that is, and I love her frog quilt and her chickadee quilt. Love it. And I love that star. Very good. All right, let's see who else we have. Cheryl Lemon. I'm going to show you one more time. I'll show you her wonderful undersea quilt that she actually managed to finish, unlike me, who still has it on the quilt frame. But I love that. I love it, Cheryl. Wonderful job. Oh, and don't forget, let me see, I should still have it here. There's her log cabin quilt. So there's all kinds of things you can do. I just love the tree line up here and the creek running down and stream running down. Love it. Okay, now let's see. Who else do we have? Diana Wright. She is working on her art quilt, and I just adore that. That was the challenge where we were doing birds, all kinds of birds. So I'm excited to see. There she's cut out from behind the quilt. Oh, and here she is making shrimp egg rolls. Yum. And I'm not sure what quilt that is, but it's a beauty. I could look at her quilting every day. And look at this. Look what she's been working on. Is that the cutest thing? I saw it and I right away thought, I want to make it. And then I went, Deb, you promised you would never do hexagons. So I said, okay, I can't do hexagons. So let me see. Miss Jody, I'm not sure. Oh, look at this. I know what this is. I thought it was going to be something different. I sent her a bunch of scraps and she's been working with it. Oh my gosh. I recognize this piece right here. That was part of piano keys I made for a quilt. That's so neat to see. It's like quilts that I've made over time. Love it. So I'm so tickled she enjoyed it. So, and her kitty cat, her quilt, and here is. Now, I love how she did this beautiful, the ocean currents. Mine had so much junk in the way, and I said, I don't think I can deal with that right now. But if I could have, I would have loved to have copied her quilting on my undersea quilt. All right, let's see. Kathleen has sent me, look at Miss Kathleen on the ball, already started drawing her planet quilt. And then she told herself, well, I don't think I have fabrics to do a planet quilt. And look what she ended up finding. Look at all these look at all of these wonderful, amazing fabrics. So I can't wait to see what she comes up with. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. So way to go, Miss Kathleen. Okay, let me go back here. All right. Let's see. I got to show you Miss Cheryl's again because I'm loving it. I just love hers. So darn cute. I love the personality. What a happy quilt. Love, love, love it. Okay, let me see. I think that's it for this time. But anyway, so now I have an image, and here is my image. Now, I'm going to change it up just so that I'm not violating the use of anyone's art, and I will see if I can find out whose artwork this is, because I don't want to step on anybody's toes. And usually, if you just contact the artist and say, can I turn your work into fiber art? Every time I've asked, they've said sure. And what you have to do is it's good to put on the label, or if you enter it in any show, please give credit to the original artist. And by doing that, we all create a friendly, cooperative atmosphere that we can all work. I was hoping, in fact, I was going to show you that I asked for this. Her name is Maria Koslova. I'm sorry. I apologize for her last name, but she said, sure, I could use her image. And she asked that I just send me the link to my show that I used it in, and I sent her a photo. But it is so nice when people are willing to share their artwork. And, as artists, as quilters, as artists, we all love sharing. So now what I was going to tell you is, okay, so I know I want to do that volcanic planet. I want to make it, the one I do, a little more jagged, like the volcanic activity in it is breaking through the crust. And that way I'll get something that's a little, I don't want to just copy this. What can I do to bring my own view to it? So that is one thing. All of a sudden I had this window open and I couldn't find where y'all were. I'm like, oh no. So it's common courtesy. And you know what? I bet you the more we ask permission, then the more artists will be willing to share also. So I have to decide what kind of background I want to put. And I'm thinking of going with this dot on dot black. Now let me tell you why. I'm going to want the volcanic part to really be hot. Like I really want it to look hot. I could use this fabric, but there's a problem. I could use, I could use this fabric. This would be a better choice. But when you have what I've noticed with the planets, when you have something very bright and intense, the background tends to just be dark because it can't compete with the bright, intense foreground. And if you want it to really stand out, that's when I think this should be my background. Although, I've got to think about this. Hold on one second. I just realized if I use black for the background, what color am I going to use for the dark part of the planet? So let me take a peek at that. In this case, it's coming out brownish black, like a dark brownish black. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if this is dark enough. I'm going to have to work with this. And, if this is going to be my background of my sky, maybe I'll do a solid, I don't know. This is part of the process I've got to figure out. But let me go ahead and tell you this. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to be able to cut little tiny slivers. Let me show you this again. I'm not going to be able to cut the little tiny slivers of red. Okay? So what I decided to do when I saw it new, that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to do reverse applique. I'm going to take my fabric, and I probably will use a range of these because not every color will show properly. I could do two different ways. I could cut a circle of red to put behind the circle of dark brown black. And then I can make little slits in the fabric and tuck it under and do needle turn, but do it reverse. So the color will show through. Or I can find the colors that are going to be, planet is going to be and I can cut slits and then decide what fabrics get tucked in behind. So in that case, I would probably stitch down around the edge with a nice, use a little glue, tuck the planet under with a little glue, then take and invisibly stitch the circle on the background. And once that is down, then take and cut little slits, decide what colors and where. I tuck that in behind the slits and then do a needle turn and stitch it down. So it's going to take me some time to do this, but if I do it right, it will be very dramatic. And so it should be a lot of fun. I like these things because it's like a puzzle for me, and I get to solve, how do I make this? How do I go about doing that? And then, thread painting is absolutely fabulous. In fact, when I get to where it's kind of like very thin and wispy, I wish I had remembered to get my God's Eye Nebula, because then you would see how wonderful thread painting does when you're trying to have something that's a little bit see-through. Really good. Just watch your thickness of your thread, how closely you sew it together. I used to do thread painting and thought, I could just do a zigzag stitch and fill it in real quick. It doesn't look as good that way. Really looks good if you make straight lines. Now you can vary them to make it look, but do straight lines and relatively uniform. In fact, did you see on the virtual quilt show, they had a woman who did Rembrandt's meal, something like that, and she did a candlelight. It was exceptional. The way the rays of light came out from the candle, it gave it, from a little bit of a distance, it gave it a glow. So if you have a chance, I think it under wall hanging? I'm not sure. But find that metallic paint. Yeah, that would work too. So remember, with art quilts, you can play with everything. You can put beads, you can put sequins, you can use ink tints, pencils, you can use Dynaflow paints. You can do anything. You can use markers. You can use gel pens. Anything you want. And plus fabric, thread painting. That's what I love about this time in a fabric artist's life. It all goes. Whatever you want, whatever you see in it. You remember my rooster quilt? I put real rooster feathers on it. So it all goes, and have fun with it. You could get some silver gel pens and put distant stars. You could do anything. And so think about what you want to do. Kind of write down ideas, because you will forget. Write down, like that idea to use metallic gel pens to draw in a little star. Write anything you have like that. Write that down while you're thinking of it. If you have a little notebook, jot down your ideas, jot down some picture ideas, jot down what kind of materials you'd like to use, and let your mind just go. Let your mind play. So I think we've about come to the end of this. What are y'all talking about? One part of your pattern has rings. And where you can use fabric for the rings, use fabric. Where it would be too heavy, it wouldn't look right, use thread. Try to match the thread and flesh out the rings, because that's what I'm going to, if I do this red ring planet, I'm going to use part of this fabric, but where it looks translucent, then I'll switch to matching threads and do some thread painting, like where it comes in front of the volcanic planet. So, but just make sure sky. Oh, I love that, Diana Wright. Oh, she's witty. talented, famous, and an amazing quilter. Yay! I love that. And metallic threads work really well. Get a good top stitch needle and take your time, but metallic stitches are wonderful. And you've seen some of these quilts where they take a black background and just by varying the colors of these threads, especially the shiny embroidery threads, oh my goodness, you can make startling, amazing, amazing quilts. So, I've got all kinds of things. I have got some gold threads. This is a pearl metallic. Somewhere I have some silver threads. And today, just wanted to tell you, I ended up using the Superior mono poly thread to do I had so much sewing down to do because I had put a bunch of new stuff. It worked beautifully. I love it. That probably is my very favorite. So, glow in the dark thread. Oh, absolutely. I did glow in the dark thread in my City Lights quilt. And that was cool because if it's in enough light and then you turn the lights out, you get a glow. It's awesome. And in fact, I think I have a spool. I did it on my quilt frame. So I had a big spool of it. And that is so much fun. And you can get some that glow a purpley, blue, green. Look it up and you'd be surprised. But yeah, the glow in the dark thread would be awesome. Yeah, there are some amazing quilts on that quilt show. I thought it was and that's a virtual quilt show. And they've got some classes if you'd like to take them. And then you can go look at the quilts for free. I think they have vendors. Or was it Mancuso sent an email out today saying, since they're not doing their quilt show, which would be this weekend that I was supposed to be at in Greenville, they said, please think about going and visiting the vendors. So, that'll be fun. And I want to tell you something for Sunday. This is how good I am. See my package from Jenny Beyer? I haven't opened it yet. I'm waiting until Sunday to open it with you guys. See? Still sealed shut. Aren't I nice to wait? I said, I am not opening it until I can open it with them. So, because I'm not buying a whole lot of fabric right now, and every bit I do buy is precious. That was only like $28, and that included the shipping. So, I got a good deal. All right. You just bought some glow in the dark. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Yeah, these are going to be some awesome quilts. These are going to be awesome. And don't forget, send me pictures of every stage because I love showing. This is where we started and this is where they finished up. So I think, are there any questions you have for me? And like I said, I'm sorry I don't have my undersea quilt. It's on the frame and this much is all I have left. Oh, it killed me. But I said, Deb, be on time today. Don't keep those ladies waiting. So, aren't I showing remarkable restraint? Thank you, Diane57, for noticing that. Because, I'm not usually that restrained of a person. So, although I have noticed I can have a bag of Reese's cups in the house now. I can make them last for a couple of weeks. I never used to be able to do that. Cheese Pringles and Reese's cups were my Achilles heels. And now they can just sit there until I'm really in the mood for them. Isn't that good of me? And I want to show you real quickly too. Remember I covered my ironing table with pretty new Teflon fabric. I found that tape, and what this is is, here it is. It is a self-stick measuring tape. Whoop, it'll help you see it if a self-stick measuring tape that look online you can buy. And I have it on the edge of the desk right here. I put it along the edge of here on my cutting table down there. Every table surface, the edge of every table has it. And that's wonderful. It's not expensive. It does tend to wear out and you just scrape it off and put some new. But I sit here and I measure my quilts right on that measuring tape. So it's really, really, instead of having to go to a table and lay it out when I'm making a quilt and I need to know how much binding or how big the border, I just measure up against the tape and off I go. It's a great, it's only $4 or $5 for a roll, and I recommend it. All right, you take good care of yourselves. Yes, if you don't mind, give me a little, if you have approved of this, like it. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. But I will see you now on Sunday. And I'll have to show you pictures of how we're doing with the deck staining. I think they're going to be back over tomorrow if it dries up. We had rain past couple days. But I'll have my prose quilt to show you. I'll have the flower basket crayon wall hanging to show you, and my undersea quilt to show you. And hopefully I'll figure out a new project for us to work on Sunday. So take good care. Thank you, sweetheart. And get enough sleep, eat well, stay safe. Okay? Y'all are the best. Thank you for brightening up my world, because you have. You're the best. See you later, everybody. Y'all are wonderful. Take good care. Bye-bye.